Welcome back to Cave. We are the Cave People.
Cave People.
And we believe that the family that games together
stays together. We have something special today. Special. We are going to finally review the new 2024 game by Office Dog.
And River of Gold.
Is called River of Gold. Yes.
Did I put the box sideways? Oh.
I'm not sure. All right. This is billed as a Euro style game. I would almost call it more like an action management game with a Euro feel to it. So we finally got our cardboard copy in the mail. We played it, the cardboard version. I've been playing the board game arena version for quite some time. Since the game launched on Board Game Arena, I've been in the top 10 in ELO. So I've played this game a lot. It's like the only game that I think that I keep looking for games for on BGA right now. So if that tells you anything about how this review is going to go, well,
I won.
Right, I kind of took it easy on you, but next time I won't do that. So, all right.
Rude.
So we'll have to play it again. But so let's see. Played it at every player count. I have a pretty good idea of what player count I like best. We'll talk about that, but let's kind of get into the game and
I
what
like
it looks
two-player best.
You like two-player best. Well, it's the only way you've played it. Solid rule book, I would say. Yes.
I didn't read it.
Lewis didn't read the rule book, so he has no thoughts. This is a 2 to 4 player game. There is no solo mode, solitaire mode, unfortunately, because if there were, I would be playing it even more. But that's okay. To start off, if you don't know much about the game, we're not going to talk about that just yet. We will talk about it. But I want to start off by talking about the components because Office Dog, I think this is coming from their Legend of Five Rings series, which I played the card game back in the day, long time ago, back when I was playing competitive Magic. And the card game just didn't quite take off the way that I think that they were hoping it did. And this is kind of a spin-off of one of those things. They also have another board game coming out soon. That sounds more like a war game. This is not what that is. So based off of the Legend of Five Rings, if you're familiar with that, it's on the Rikoku River, and you have 4 clans available to you at the start of the game of the clans that you normally see in Legend of Five Rings. We have Crane, Mantis, Scorpion, and Crab. It's important to note they don't do anything on their own. You have to play with the mini expansion, which is the patrons, in order to get some special abilities, some asymmetric abilities. Okay. Right off the bat, the components are high quality. Oh boy, that really got disorganized, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, note to self.
Well, that's why we put things in bags.
Well, most of the things were in bags, but not all of them. Okay, I'll come up in a minute. All right. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna kind of sort through the components here, but things got a little bit out of sorts as we tipped the box over. I guess we won't be doing that for a minute.
It was right behind him.
I was kind of trying to display the box a bit, but maybe with this one lays on its
flat.
Lays flat would be the best way. Okay. Anyway.
We did not play with the coins in the game. We played with the brass coins.
That's true.
Poker chips.
Most of the time, anytime we have money involved in the game, we use the clay.
We didn't for Ezra and Nehemiah.
We didn't. You're right. Okay, the game board. It is big. It's a lot bigger than I thought it would be.
Whoa.
Again, like I said, I started playing this on Board Game Arena, so I wasn't too familiar with what the size of the game would be, but this is pretty big. It's kind of a little bit of a table hogging board here, but the board is really nice. The river itself, has this like gold plating sort of, I don't know, surface to it. Makes it feel really nice. All the koku, the gold coin chips out there have some pronounced surface to them. So it's really nice. Everything here is really well done.
And they have it on the side.
Yes, they do. The building tiles, all the punchies in the game are super thick. Very durable. Even the resources punchies are very thick and durable. They're very nice looking.
And
Okay, we'll
I
zoom
like-
in a little bit so we can see a little bit of this.
Well, that's a bit much.
There we go.
Whoa.
No, that's all right. We'll cut our heads
Can't
off.
see our heads.
Cutting our heads off. Hey, it's how we do things
Are we
around
talking
here.
about like the components?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I do like the art on the dice. It matches the art on the influence tracks.
It does. Go ahead.
I like the dice.
Okay, the dice are chunky.
cool.
They're heavy. They feel good when you roll. They're not cheap. The cards in the game are fairly high quality. They're not quite the cards of like the deluxe version of Radlands, but they're really high quality. They're better than the normal cards that you would get in a game like this. They're not super flimsy. Very durable. They feel good to shuffle. I don't feel like we're going to have to sleeve this game. Do you feel like we'd have to sleeve the game?
I don't know. The cards are like, I accidentally bent one card.
Where?
Not much. I unbent it.
Oh, well, if you can unbend it, then it's pretty good.
It didn't make a crease.
Okay. Well, that's the good part, if it doesn't crease. But yeah, I think this is good stuff. The artwork here is beautiful.
Mhm.
It's very Asian themed, in an Asian themed game, obviously. Samurai themed, that sort of thing.
Even
So
like
if you're into that sort of lore, then you'll like the theme here. If you're into Legend of Five Rings, you will really like the theme here. But yeah, the components are nice. And then tokens, player chips and stuff, they're pretty much all wood. Just fine. They're perfect. They balance on the table well. They don't fall over.
Yeah.
There are no issues there with any of that stuff. So, all right. Maybe we should get into how the game plays a little bit. So, this is not going to be a teaching video. This is a review video. But just to tell you a little bit about the game.
Oh, can I say one more thing?
Go ahead.
I do like that you have different patrons to choose from. So you don't have to use the same one every time. And there's like assigned ones. So if you play like the Scorpion Clan, you have two different guys, and then Mantis is two different guys. Everyone is two different guys. Are they all the same?
Nope.
So
There's
that's
different
where
abilities, yeah.
so that's where playing that comes in.
So also that's your replayability, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your replayability, you might play a Crab Clan one game, but maybe you play without a patron. Maybe you play with the patrons. If you play without, then you play the game straight up with no asymmetric ability. If you play with the patron, then you have the choice between the two. There are some suggestions in the rulebook for how to do that if you want to do that. We kind of just, picked a clan and then picked a patron because we're just having fun. But yeah, so replayability, each one plays differently or has a small ability that happens throughout the game that benefits you. So yeah, it's nice that way. All right, so the basic gist of the game.
What was the pawn for?
The pawn is the victory point tracker.
Right.
Yep. Okay, so I'll get out these little player tokens here. We'll kind of talk through a little bit of this, not too much. Again, like I said, we're not teaching the game here. But the idea of the game is that you are sailing down a river, the River of Gold, and what
You're trying to collect gold.
Yeah, kind of. You're collecting resources to do different things. So there are 3 basic actions in the game. You're going to start the game with 2 ships out on the river somewhere. Okay. 3 basic actions you can take. The first action you can take is you can sail on the river. What drives your actions is the die roll. So on the die, there is a picture of one of the 6 locations on the river. And the locations are broken up by these different building sects over here. And then that's kind of the location or the number in which you have to take your turn. So, for example, if I wanted to sail and I have a 2 on my die for that turn, I can sail 2 spots down the river. Okay. When you sail down the river, that's your first action there, you collect income. That's kind of like your income action, how you gain resources. You would collect income from any of the buildings that are attached. There are 4 to each river space. Any of the 4 building spaces that are attached to the river space that you land on. Okay. Now, you can improve those building spaces when you sail with the second action in the game, and that is building. So the game has 2 eras, era 1 and era 2. The number of building stacks is what drives the era. When era 1 building stacks run out, you go to era 2. And then when the era 2 buildings are out, the game is over. Go ahead.
I was going to say something about the game, but you're teaching it right now.
Oh, okay. So these buildings are going to be available for purchase. There are different types of buildings. There are shrines and whatever temples, I guess. So and each building type kind of does a little bit of a different thing.
2 different types.
So there's 2 sides to the building.
No, you can see that.
When you build a building in the location, you're going to gain influence in that location over here that's tracked for end of game scoring. And also, you are going to have a build benefit on here if someone sails to that location. So when they sail to that location, the person that sails there is going to gain the inside benefit of that building. And then the owner of the building is going to gain the outside benefit. Okay. The Good Time Society, by the way, has a great teaching video on this that you can watch. It teaches you the game almost perfectly. And so that was the second action is you can build. Spend Koku in your location that you rolled for the turn and build a building. Okay. When you build a building, down at the bottom here, there are 4 buildings that are available for purchase. You select one of those, you build it out here, and then you move the rest of them down and pull another building tile off the stack. When the first stack runs out, and they're dotted, 1 dot buildings are era 1, 2 dot buildings are era 2. When that stack runs out, the Emperor visits. So the Emperor comes and visits all of the buildings that have been built by players, and they carry out the owner benefit of that building. So that's the second action. And that action improves the sale of most other people in the game, including yourself. And then the third action that you can do is you can deliver to what's called a customer. So you can spend resources. There are 3 basic resources in the game, minus the Koku, which is the gold. There are rice resources, there are silk resources, and there are porcelain. And in the game, you're going to get 2 of these customer cards. There are different types of customers: nobles, monks, elders, artisans, and merchants. And you can deliver the goods to them. So, for example, this noble right here requires 1 porcelain, 2 rice, and 1 silk. So as part of your turn, instead of sailing or building, you can choose to deliver to a customer that's in your hand, play it face up on the table, and now it provides you with normally a benefit throughout the game or possible end of game scoring benefit. Those are the 3 actions that you take in the game, and that's really about it. You can always trade resources 2 for 1. You can mitigate the die roll through what's called divine favor. Everybody starts with 2 divine favor, and you spend 1 to change the die roll by 1 number.
You can change multiple at the same time. So if you have a 6, you can go to 1. If you have a 1, you can go to 6.
True.
And if I had a 1 and I wanted to get to 4, I could still spend 3 divine favor in a turn to do that.
Correct.
It's not just a max of 1.
That's right. You can spend as much divine favor as you have available to you to change your die roll. And I encourage you to do that if you're going to play the game effectively, because you're going to need to do things in other locations than what you roll all the time. Sometimes you just roll a garbage location that you can't do much with.
Because the game goes fast, and there's no really time to mess around.
Very true, as Lewis found out. So the customers also have an icon at the top left corner of their card there that correlates to a die location. So you can deliver to a merchant when your die matches that merchant type and you have the resources to pay. You play the game until the buildings run out, like I said. And then at that time, the person who triggers the end of game scores some VP, and then everybody else gets 1 more turn. The game ends, we go to end of game scoring. That's it. It's simple, it's fast. Go ahead, and it's tight.
So you say when you sail, there's like different locations you can go to, and if it doesn't have a thing on it, you just gain 1 koku. Don't know if you said that or not.
That's true. No, I did not. So the basic buildings.
Yeah.
Also, when you sail to the end of the river, let's say you reach the end of the river, which the end of the river is down here. So if you reach the end of the river, you will start back up at the top of the river and keep sailing. When you reach the end of the river, you also burn a building off the stack, gain either 3 koku or a resource of your choice. And then if you have any customers that you deliver to that have end of river benefits, you would carry those out as well.
I think monks are the only ones.
Monks are the only ones. Okay.
That's the whole
Not
game.
monks.
Yeah, monk.
No,
or
no.
merchant.
It's I think is it the merchant?
It's a merchant.
Yeah, it's the merchant. Okay, so that's kind of how you play the game. There's a lot of end of game scoring over here, that we're not really going to explain, but you kind of put out scoring tiles to decide based on your player count here. For example, like whoever is furthest along this track would earn 11 VP at the end of the game. This is a 3-4 player game. Second furthest would earn 7. Third furthest would earn 3. That's kind of where a bulk of the VP comes from at the end of the game. There are also 3.
That's like more than half the VP of the game.
There are 3 scoring sort of objectives that you can achieve during the game as well. In the 2-player game, it's only 5 VP for each, and if you're the first one there, you get it. Other than that, you're SOL. 3 to 4 player game, you have 3 different levels of scoring there. So can't think of what else to say about how to play the game. But I want to talk about the game.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you liked about the game.
What I liked about the game? A lot. What I liked about the game. I like these influence tracks. They add another element to the game.
Mm-hmm.
They're just sailing down a river. I don't know how I really feel about the customers. They're hard to get. Really hard to get. It's really hard to get resources.
It can be difficult to get resources, yes.
Oh, and however many customers you have completed at the end of the game relates to VP.
That's true. Well, what did you feel? Did you feel the game was tight? Like the rule set was good? What?
I think everything was really good. The only thing I don't like was that how we didn't complete all the ones, the 1.1s, and we didn't discard them. We didn't complete them. They just literally sat there for the entire round 2. Well, round 2 ones just went.
Yeah. Okay. I suppose that's a legit complaint.
I really like the components. They're like really cool. Just dude. I really like these things. They add another thing into the game. The
clan patrons.
The patrons, yeah.
Is there anything else you didn't like about the game?
No.
Okay. I think this game is fantastic. This is such an intelligent design. It is seamless, easy to learn, easy to teach, and easy to play. But that is not to say that there is not strategy here in this game. The strategy is layered. And I think actually this is one of those games, the more I play it, the more I kind of want to play it more. Because there is something that I'm like, oh, you know what? If I would have done this action instead of that one a turn before, perhaps something different would have happened. Or if I had spent Divine Favor and not spent Divine Favor.
I spent all of my Divine Favor at once.
Right, Divine Favor. Having no Divine Favor at the end of the game
was awful.
Is rough because then you're at the mercy of the die roll. Strictly at the mercy of the die roll.
And that's when you have to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really tried to get to the end of this 5 track. I rolled like a 4 and a 6, but I had 0 Divine Favor. So I couldn't change it to a 5, and I didn't end up getting to the end.
Facts. So, there is a slight luck factor involved, but you can mitigate that luck.
It's not that
by maintaining
luck.
Divine Favor. Okay? So I wouldn't say that the dice rolls rule the game here. Um, there is just a tiny bit of luck, I suppose. But again, the strategy can help mitigate that luck factor. I'm in love with this game. I really am. I think everything they've done here is fantastic. The rules are tight. The rule book is great. The components are great. The art style is awesome. Like I said, I played a little bit of Legend of the Five Rings, the trading card game, but I wasn't super into it. I'm super into this. I mean, this is fantastic. This is going to be in the top 10 of 2024. I can say that with confidence.
Of course, it's.
And
how is it not going to be?
I mean, for me, it might be in my top 10 of 2024, and I do think so. I'm not sure what else would knock it out of the top 10, but we'll see. We have a long way to go.
I also do really like the Emperor thing. How you can get extra stuff off the Emperor.
Yeah,
so you can plan ahead to try to get as much, so the Emperor builds. So you can build a bunch in the first,
that's true,
turns, and then you can start gaining influence. You gain influence when you build. You can start delivering to customers. You can start sailing more.
Yes, you can play the two eras differently. And it's not two eras like so much as like Brass does two eras, right? Where the game really changes after the first era. It's not really the case. The game kind of just keeps going. It's very fluid. The only thing that really changes is you're now on a clock till the end of the game, and the building tiles change a little bit. But
that's the only thing. The play style is the same. Well, I mean, it's not the same, however you want to play it, but how you play the game is the same. There's no rule change or anything. It's just there's no Emperor.
Right. There is a lot of different paths. There are a lot of different paths you can travel in this game. And like I said, strategies out there. I know that I have my own personal things that I like to try and do when I play this game. I always like to try and score one of the in-game objectives as quickly as I possibly can to set myself a little bit ahead and give myself a buffer. I will say this game is played easier from the front than it is from the back. It's tough to catch up, so you're going to want to move fast and have a plan. You can pivot in this game, but there's not a whole lot of time. It's kind of like the White Castle where, look, you got 9 actions. In this game, you have maybe a few more, but you have limited actions because that timer, those buildings are going to run out as people build and sail. So limited time, you've got to get stuff done quickly. I guess that's why I kind of like it. It's a Euro game that doesn't take 9 hours to play, We were done in less than 45 minutes, and he had never played before. So if that tells you anything. Now, player counts. I like this game a lot at 2 and 3.
Not at 4.
I like it at 4 too, but I'm just saying. At 4, all the buildings are open. At 2 and 3, you start with some generic buildings out here to help accelerate.
Well, that's
I don't
what
know.
you have to have with.
I don't know, man. It's hard.
Well, that's what you have to have with 2, because you have to have a lot of buildings, because it's really hard to get started if you don't.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I just think the game plays fine at 2 people.
It's also really hard to get Koku in the game.
That's the gold resource that you use to buy buildings.
It's really hard.
It can be hard, but sailing gets you Koku.
Well, but right? You really want to build, but you don't have enough Koku because all the spaces are taken.
That's true. Or you want to build before you sail, right? You want to try to build before you sail so you get double benefits. Because if you sail to a building you own, you get the visitor benefit plus the owner benefit.
And so if you own and if you own all 3 buildings or 4 buildings in the area and you sail there,
bonus turn.
You're getting a lot.
It's a buku turn for you. Yeah, online when you play it on BGA, you're not going to want to give those spots up to people easily because they will snowball.
I tried to get every number. So I tried to get 1 building in every number so he just didn't sail all the time and collect these silly resources in just 1 number.
Yeah. I also like how there are multiple paths to victory here. I mean, not multiple paths to
Well,
victory
you
in
have
the
to
way
get to.
like alternate win conditions. There's one win condition, have the most VP. But there are multiple ways in which you can earn the most VP. You can earn VP through sailing because there are a lot of buildings that have VP on them as prizes.
You could also just focus on influence and building.
You could
get a
focus
lot
on
of VP
influence
for
and try
that.
to win all of the end of game bonuses from influence.
You could
You
also
could focus on customers and
you
get as many customers as
could also
possible.
focus on objectives. Get as many VP on objectives as
That's
possible.
true.
You can't do that for that long though, because it's only 3.
So there are multiple paths to earning VP in this game. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say other than just you need to play this game. If you are a fan of action management Euro style games, this is for you. If you want something that feels tight but quick and simple and snappy, this is for you. If you are ultra heavy engine building Euro style person, then you may not enjoy this one as much because it is quick. And by the time you get something up and moving, the game's probably going to end. But I don't think that's a downfall of this game. I don't think this game wants to be that. It doesn't want to be like a giant engine builder where, you have 6 customers out, you haven't built any buildings yet, and you're just reaping benefits from customers. I'm not really sure that's what this game wants to be. I think it wants to be fast. I think it's meant to flow down the river, so to speak. What else do you think, man?
I really like the way that it's fast because you can get an entire game in 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, even with 3 and 4 players, it doesn't take that long. The box says, I think, 45 to 60 to 90. And that's, you know what?
That's not.
Boxes lie all the time, and normally they lie to the short side. I would say this one is overestimating the length of the game, honestly. I mean, especially if you know what you're doing. If you get a couple people here and know what they're doing, this game's over quick.
You could do it in 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it's not over quick because people are going to rush the end of the game. It's over quick because the actions are just that simple. Your turns are that simple.
Like, there's alternating turns. One person takes a turn, then the other person takes a turn. And in a 4-player game, it'd probably go really quick because everyone knows what they're doing before it gets to their turn because they've been thinking for 3 players.
So another thing I wanted to mention, speaking of that, I think this game is safe to play. Oh boy, excuse me, I'm getting tired, I guess. This game is safe to play with your AP prone friends. The analysis paralysis is not really present here. You basically have a choice of 1 of 3 actions, and the actions happen quickly. So there's not much to sit there and mull over while you're like, oh man, should I do this or this? I don't really know. Well, I don't even know what the best space to go to is. You don't really have to worry about that.
Well, toward the end of the game, you kind of do because it's going over quick. Like Era 2 goes so quick because so many people want to gain influence. There's 5, there's 4s in the 2.
Mm-hmm. Right, but at that point, I mean, you still know what actions are, available to you and which ones you're going to take. So, yeah, it's super fantastic. It's in my top 10 of this year. Is it going to be the game of the year? I'm not sure. It's close. It's got to be close. I mean, right now in the running for game of the year, I would say I have Ezra and Nehemiah for sure. That game's incredible. This game's got to be up there. I love it. Black Rose Wars Rebirth has got to be close to the top somewhere. So I don't know. I know everyone's going to say Ark's been on the hotness forever. I got it. If you haven't seen my Ark's review, well, you don't know how I feel about that game. I'm not really a huge fan of that game, but this is not about that. So this is about a game that I do like quite a bit that I hope that you play somehow. BGA, cardboard, whatever it is. Go out. Get this game.
I think Ezra Nehemiah, Atlas Lost, and River of Gold are in my top.
Atlas Lost is great too. Sneaker game. So if you haven't watched my Atlas Lost review, please do. Okay. If you like what we do, we are a casual, independent channel. And our level of content kind of just depends upon your viewership and whatever you have to say to us. So We're going to put stuff out there. We're going to have honest to goodness opinions. Again, we're not paid by anyone to do this. No one is sponsoring our video. Sponsored by The Cave. That's us. And this is what we do for fun because we want to.
And now, future content.
Okay, future content. I am going to do a Gaia Project Lost Fleet review. Hold on. There's a reason I haven't done it yet. It's because I want to play it with 4 players one more time before
I've been telling him to do it for like 2
review.
weeks.
I want to play with 4 players just one more time. I've played it at every player count now. And 4 players, I have only played it once with 4 players. So I don't feel like I can give an honest opinion of a 4-player review. So I would rather do that. I will say I like it. So there's a little preview of how I feel about Lost Fleet.
I'm not going to tell them what you said about it.
Okay. And then we're also going to do a
Guest of Robin
Hood review, coin style game from GMT. If you watch our channel, you know how we feel about GMT. We own
crazy
a measure of GMT games.
I mean, I could see the GMT logo on probably 4 games on that shelf.
Only 4. There's more than that, but yeah.
Well, I mean, most of the boxes are facing.
You have
me,
one set up right over there too, like Mr. President that's still set up. Okay, so anyway, GMT, Guest of Robin Hood.
We're gonna come out with a top 20 list of all time.
Top 20 of all time.
We do not know what's on each other's list.
That's right. We're gonna do it secretively. The rules to that are: it must be a tabletop game. No video games allowed. We don't have to own a copy of the game. It just has to be something that we've played and are familiar with. I think those were all the rules, weren't they? So it'll be a top 20 of all time.
I mean, if you haven't...
Our personal.
Obviously, if you haven't played it, you can't put it on the top 20.
Well, I would never put a game that I haven't played on the top 20.
Well, like, does even playing it online count?
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing it, right? So that's fair.
Okay. I gotta think about that. That's hard.
20 games. I know, we have a lot, and there's a lot that you've played. So.
Oh, and what's it called? The Roanoke one? That's coming
Pagan, Fate of Roanoke. Yeah, we should probably do that review soon, too. And then, keep an eye out for our Unmatched tournament, still going on. Group play is almost concluded.
2 more groups. 3 more groups.
We need to burn through that and get to the knockout phases and champion someone before
the new set comes out.
And
then the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one comes out.
I think The Witcher's coming out before that, but we'll see. All right, dude. Anything else you want to talk about? River of Gold. It's fantastic. Fabuloso. 2 thumbs up from me. For sure.
I give it 2 thumbs up. I really like it. I really like that it's quick. It's simple. Really like that you can only take 3 actions. There's not much thinking going into the game at all.
Yeah. It's sweet. Play it. I think that's it for us now. Thanks for watching. If you like what we do, do the thing to the things. So
Ding!
That way you know when we're doing this. We do nearly strictly live content.
That's all we do.
So unfiltered and live right here is what you'll get every time. It's also child friendly. You're not going to get any swearing, screaming, or any of that sort of thing on our channel. Unless we have a video with just the cave guys.
And
none of the kids. And that may change a little bit. But we would let you know ahead of time, if the video contains any sort of content that's not appropriate for young ones. All right. So far, the channel is strictly young one approved. Thanks for watching.
Ding the bell.
I think it's ring the bell.
Ring the bell, whatever.